I've said it before, I think I even said it during the game. There's something about Kisiga. He seems to see the game half a second faster than many of the other people on the pitch. It's the same thing like in boxing with Mayweather. He would see things half a second faster, and that's why he would slip away. Kisiga sees the game the same way because it's a split second and he makes a move so slight, it offsets the players and he keeps moving. I think he had a very exceptional game. Should he have started? I don't think so. I still want to agree with Lydia here. You needed the team. The idea was right. Hold them out in the first half, bring on this squad, because you're looking at Emiemu, who has pace and power. You're looking at Elfaz Emong, who has pace and power. Alex Aturinda, you don't need to, have that discussion. Conrad Wanyama is pace and Kisiga is pace. The idea was they run their socks dry, then bring on guys who can make them punt in the second half. Unfortunately, we didn't execute to perfection our game plan, and Kenya got the better end of the straw. They squeezed us in the first half. That's
the moment from Philip Okrach that the fans waited for. We watch lots and lots of sevens rugby, but you're hoping that you'll get to see a lot of space for some of the best players to exploit and show what they've got. Maybe that's the one moment that Philip Okrach needed to show what he's good at. Lydia,
I have a question.
Felt he could have... Yes, please.
I have a question just before we dive into. So we have the rugby jerseys running from 1 to 15. Philip Okorach is a fullback. I noticed his jersey has 25 on it. What's that all about?
I do not know. We'll have to ask maybe the team managers when we get the chance.
Okay.
It's likely that because it's been a while since we saw Uganda with the number 15 jersey, by the way. So maybe it could have been misplaced, it could have been torn, you never know. But I think either way, 25 sounds like
15.
Sounds like 15. It's not 15, but maybe that's the available, and we'll try and look for answers.
Or was it just a way of saying he's twice as good as a 15?
That would be 30 though.
Maybe we're celebrating.
Well, you needed the 2 for the 15.
Okay, fair enough.
We'll find out.
We'll see if we can get a couple of answers maybe. But that still doesn't matter, You can still play. The Kenya captain didn't have a number on his shirt.
Yeah. Notice that.
But that was the best way to identify him, because you knew the one without a number, that's Nyambua.
And even the shirt he was in still looked like it was clinging on for dear life. That's just how bulked he is. Yeah, but that particular move, I think, yes, brilliant switching of lanes from Philip to get in on the inside and swing away. But the true essence of how that try was made, for me, a lot of credit has to go. I think it was to Ian Munyani at that particular point. Was it Ian Munyani or Julius?
Julius Opio.
It was a pass that I wanted to, I literally was screaming out in the commentary booth. I was like, make the correct pass. It was almost not good, but he had to somehow salvage it and in one swift motion, pass it on. Once it landed, I was like, it's done. It's done.
Let's talk about that final try. And there's a couple of frustrations from Adrian Casito. He had been begging and begging for the outside pass. Yeah. First was Joseph Aredo doesn't find him. Liam Walker doesn't find him. Conrad Wanyama looks at him, changes direction and goes back on the inside. But when the ball finally came from Ian Munyani, that long ball out wide, and this is the point when Philip Okorach is on his knees, the rest of the team have stepped up. And Ian Munyani slots into that number 10 position. First pass, the team carries on. Then the next time it came to him, Ian Munyani, I think him and Adrian Casito had agreed that we shall work together on this one. Because the 2 cross kicks in the first half, someone will ask themselves, why was the center kicking? Maybe that was the strategy, maybe not. If it worked, it would have worked, but just a little bit less energy, maybe the kicks would have been on point. Finds Adrian Casito with that long pass out wide. Casito puts it to the boot, and the captain redeems himself. We've been in a situation where people are asking themselves about the captain and how he played. Maybe is that the try that says maybe he's still good enough to fight for a slot on the national team?
He deserves the captaincy, and Ian Munyani was right there. After Casito kicked the ball, he kicked it the first time, kicked it the second time. Munyani was right behind there. It was like he got wind of Byron coming from the side, and you can see Ian just chilling and letting the captain do that. But what a timing for him to find the ball and touch it down for that try.
Yeah, you can see, you saw so many times Adrian Casito asking for that ball, and then it goes to Philip Okorach, who is on the ground in pain. He has emptied the tank in there. I felt it was a team try. Maybe there are a couple of moments where it could have come quicker, but look at that support from Julius Opio, and he's in that place, you know, running, clearing the ruck. There's those unseen contributions from some players. Byron Okete out at the end of it, Jermaine Egesa. Some will agree with Lydia, some will not. Where do you lie?
I don't think it was his better day in office, but I also don't think you would want to judge his overall contribution on just this particular game. I think Uganda as a team overall, there was a game plan, it just wasn't executed to perfection. But also too, we did not put our best assets to use. We did not see Casito getting time to fly down that flank because that's his game. I don't even think Philip was given enough opportunities to be able to get through and put his full burst of pace to work. The best we did see actually came in from Timothy Kisiga. I think it's some of those that we need to tie up. And yes, we need to be a little more switched on. I don't know how you preach that. It looks like we got into the game after the 7th minute, but you need to be switched on. And there were moments where we were really caught napping.
Look at that pass from Ian Munyani for Adrian Casito.
And it was on.
What a floater. I've been joking with him that he's the greatest player Uganda has ever seen, and he called me the Sudhir Biarang of Ugandan rugby. Well, that was the moment that put smiles on Ugandans' faces, but unfortunately we couldn't make it through. At the end of the day, for some, it's a culmination of what they expected. For others, heartbreak, and we get to wait another year. The top 4 teams have made it through, as predicted by Isametrix in the preview that he wrote. Namibia, Zimbabwe, Algeria, Kenya, in that order, and then now the rest of the teams, Uganda, Morocco, Cote d'Ivoire, and Senegal, will play for the placement matches. That was match day 1 on Tuesday. Match day 2, which will be the semi-finals and placement matches, will be on Sunday, July 13th. Just please take note of that. Not Saturday, Sunday, July 13th rather, is when we shall have the placement matches. And Uganda will be facing Morocco. Cote d'Ivoire will be taking on Senegal, and then Zimbabwe, Kenya, then Namibia against Algeria.